We are live. Hello, Tim Selgo.
Hi, Sandra.
How are you this afternoon?
Great. It's a beautiful May afternoon here in West Michigan.
It is. It is. I am so happy that you decided to come on and speak with us about your passion, which is leadership. And I kind of want to go in the direction of profiling a leader since I have so much information around me that you have put out. Um, Do I have okay, I think I have a little bit of a feedback. I'm gonna take my volume down just a little bit. Um, Hi, my name is Sandra Jennings. I am the host of Passion Speak, where we give those with a passion a platform to speak. And today my guest is Tim Selgo. He is the former athletic director of Grand Valley State University Athletics. It's a prominent Division II program in the country, and I have stats to prove it. Tim, I consider you an amazing leader. And one of the reasons why is because of your stats. Everything you wanted us as your team to do, you did, and you paved the way. And just so that I just love these stats. So I'm just going to put them out there. And I'm not one who follows the letter of the law. I like to think that passion, you do not need a lot of degrees and a long laundry list of accomplishments just to follow your passion. That's not what I'm about. But you have a long laundry list of all kinds of things. National NCAA, we had 20 sports at Grand Valley State University. And during your 20 years, your tenure, we had 19 national championships, which many people remember football in 2002, 2003, 2005, and 2006. We also had women's cross country, indoor track, women's basketball. I was at the basketball national championship, women's volleyball. I was there, women's soccer. And there was this conference, all sports trophy that we won under your leadership, 18 years. And you were only there 20 years. So I'd say that's amazing. And you won the National All Sports Trophy for the best all around program 11 years out of your 20. And it was so difficult to have that. But I say that to say that you are a person who is following your passion for sure. But today, you are going to tell us all that you believe and that you have learned over your time about leadership. So school us. I'm ready to listen.
Well, I don't have all the answers. Thank you for that wonderful intro, but I wasn't perfect. But the one thing I did have was passion. I found my passion was college athletics. I spent a career in college athletics. I was fortunate enough to get a basketball scholarship to play at the University of Toledo. I got both my bachelor's and master's degrees at the University of Toledo. And I taught and coached 1 year at the high school level. Then my coach hired me back to be an assistant coach on his staff. And that got me into college athletics at the age of 24. And all the way up until I retired from Grand Valley as the athletics director at age 58. In the last 5 years, I've been doing consulting work in college athletics. The point being is I found my passion. It was college athletics. And everybody out there needs to find their passion. If they don't get up every day and they aren't passionate about what they're doing, I'm not saying every day is a great day. I'm not saying you're happy-go-lucky, feeling great every day. I'm not saying it's not without its problems, because leadership is problem-solving, decision-making profession. But you've got to wake up and go about your day with the attitude of, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to get better at it every day. That was my passion. So that's what I bring now to leadership. I'm passionate about leadership and my thoughts and beliefs on it.
Okay, so that's awesome. One of the things that you did, and we encouraged you as a staff, Tim, you got to put your wisdom in a book, and you did that twice. I have both books. This is my favorite one. This is your most recent book, and you are all over Amazon too. We can get this, I think, in paperback and on Kindle. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But I love this book. The stories you have, in my opinion, you've always been an amazing storyteller. And so the stories in here bring the leadership principles to life. So I'm ready to hear one of your stories or two, or, tell us about some of the points that you feel make up a leader, and use one of them great stories.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for the intro into my books. My first book is titled Anchor Up, and that really is a story about building an organization. It's a memoir, if you will, of my time in college athletics and in building the program at Grand Valley to where we achieved some great things. But it's about building an organization. So anyone interested in leading any kind of a team or group organization, I think Anchor Up would be helpful to them. It is a sports book. My second book, as you indicated, Make One Play, is likewise a book about success, how to achieve success. And Make One Play is a result of something I learned from my college basketball coach a long, long time ago, back when I had hair and was playing college basketball. Our coach used to tell us all the time, you never know what one play will lead to, fellas. You never know what one play will lead to. Now, I've never heard another coach before or since use that phrase. He's the only coach that I've ever heard use that. And it was to teach a great point. In a game of basketball, a 40-minute college game, there are a lot of plays, a lot of them. You go up and down the court a lot. You never know which one's going to turn the game in your team's favor. And it is usually not the game-ending shot at the buzzer. It's usually not the alley-oop slam dunk play that ESPN highlights puts up there in top 10. It's more often than not a simple play, a little thing, doing the little things well. And it might be getting yourself in defensive position and making a big stop when your team needed it to get the momentum going in your favor. It might mean in basketball, cutting hard to the basket on a certain play. You didn't receive the ball, but you drew the defense to you and allowed your teammate to dribble in and score a basket when your team needed it. So you never know what one play will lead to, meaning you'll never know what one great effort will lead to. You never know what one smile will lead to. You never know what one word of encouragement will lead to. So that's why I wrote that book. And in that, I broke down success and leadership into 7 different fundamentals. 7 fundamentals. We'll talk about as many as we can here during this time that we have, Sandra.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start with the first one that's in the book, and it's so important in my opinion for being a successful leader, and that's you must have balance in your life. The leaders that you see that are single-minded, driven in only their work and doing their work in 80 hours a day, generally their personal life falls apart. Sooner or later, they get burned out. Sooner or later, their staff isn't very loyal to them. And it's important, in my opinion, to be a successful leader and to sustain successful leadership. You must have balance in your life. There's a lot of things that are important in life. A lot of them. Your work certainly is important. Your family is important. Your spiritual life is important. I happen to be a Catholic Christian. My faith is very important to me. I have to find time for that. Your health is very important. It's important to find rest. Proper rest, we're learning more and more. Getting the proper sleep for us to work all day at peak efficiency is important. Having some fun in life is important. There's a balance in there, and it's hard to achieve a perfect balance, really hard. I always say, if your life is going to be out of balance, make sure it's out of balance for the good things. And most people understand what I'm saying. You know, if you're going out and if you're out of balance because you're having too much fun and you're playing golf 7 days a week, probably not going to have much success in work and family. Okay. So, but you need that time sometimes. You need to get away. You need some personal time and so on. So having a balance is critical to success for any leader, in my opinion, to sustain successful leadership and without getting burned out. In fact, it's so important. I have a 3rd book coming out soon. It's going to be a story about achieving balance in one's life. So it's that important to me. So that's critical. The other thing that I think is important about leadership and success, surround yourself with the best people possible. You must surround yourself with the best people possible. That varies depending on your situation. Some organizations and teams and groups and businesses have a good deal of money that they can go spend and buy the best talent. Some of them can't. You've got to get the best available to you and get creative and find good people no matter where they are, whether it's part-time workers, full-time workers, your rock stars, your custodians that are taking care of your facility and making it top shelf for when anybody comes and visits. All those people matter. Surround yourself with the best people possible, and then help those people achieve success. If you help them achieve success, you'll achieve success. That's called servant leadership. I also talk about unselfishness in that book because I believe that's a key fundamental for a leader, being a servant leader, unselfishness. Okay, but here's the one fundamental that I want to share a little bit of a story on.
Okay.
To explain why I believe it's so important. I believe successful leaders are great teachers. The best leaders are great teachers. We see it in coaching all the time. I think you see it in the business world, in professional world all the time. The best accountants I know can explain budgets and balance sheets such that an athletics guy like me can understand it. That's a great teacher. That's a great leader. The best attorneys that I know can explain that legalese stuff in ways that we, the non-legal people, can understand it. You've got to be able to teach your clients, teach those working with you what it is you want to get done. That's communication, of course, okay? But it's more than communication. So here's an exercise I like to do with my clients in the world of college athletics consulting when I get a coaching staff together. I ask them the question. Take 5 seconds, close your eyes, think of the best teacher you've ever had. It could be a teacher in the classroom, it could be a coach, it could be a parent, it could be a member of the clergy. Whoever's the best teacher you had. You got that person? They say yes. Okay, everybody's got their best teacher ever. And I said, now take 10 seconds, and I want you to think of the characteristic or characteristics that person possessed that caused them to pop into your mind when I want you to think of the best teacher, okay? So we do that. They take 10 seconds. Okay. Then I go up to the whiteboard and I start writing down their answers. Here's some of the answers. She cared about me. He held me accountable. She was enthusiastic. He took a personal interest in me. She challenged me. He knew his stuff. She was positive. He took the time to work with me and explain things. She explained things well. He clearly cared about his students more than his own self and his own career. And we could substitute employee or employees, employers or employees in here versus student as well, okay? She sacrificed her time for her students. He cared about me as a person and not just as a student or a player. She was inspiring, motivating. Those are all characteristics of great teachers. And when you think about those and you want to be a really good leader, be those things. Just be those things and you can be a good leader.
Awesome. Because you made me think of Miss White. And I'll share a story about Miss White. Miss White was probably one of the first African-American teachers I had in elementary school. She was our 6th grade teacher, and she wore an afro. And I remember Penny came to school. Penny was my 6th grade girlfriend. She came to school and her afro was not combed out, and it was picture day. And Miss White cared enough to get Penny's hair together because they had the exact same hair. And Penny took a wonderful picture that year. But anyway, Miss White she met us on our level.
There you go. You know, that didn't have anything to do with ABCs or reading, writing, or arithmetic. However, it did have something to do with Miss White's relationship with her student, Penny. And that's what we're talking about here. Relationships between employers and employees, teachers and students, coaches and players. supervisors and staff. It's all about the relationships. And that takes time and energy. And a leader has to take that time and energy. The other thing about that that I will mention that I think is a fundamental of successful leadership is positivity. And by positivity, I don't mean happy-go-lucky all the time. You know, there's those people that are always seemingly happy-go-lucky. They sort of bug me, okay? And I don't know that genuine leadership, having a positive attitude means that. Because there's some days you're not feeling well. There's some days you're tired. There's some days there's problems at home and you got to go to work and you got to have a positive attitude. There's some days your child is doing some things and you're not real happy with how things are going, but you got to maintain a positive attitude. You know, that parent-child relationship is also a big one in terms of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that positivity, looking at the glasses half full, no matter how you're personally feeling that day, I think is critical. And Miss White took what could have been a negative experience. She took lemons and made it lemonade. She made Penny look great for the picture. She made people smile, I'm sure. And that obviously made an impact on you, because I don't want to mention your age, Sandra, but that had to be quite a while ago.
You're funny.
Okay. I want to share in the short time that we have,
Yep.
2 last fundamentals of successful leadership that I think are critical today. I think they're critical. One is courage. To be a success in life, to be a successful leader, it takes courage. As I mentioned earlier, leadership is problem solving and decision making. I used to say to our staff, and you heard me say, if we didn't have problems, they wouldn't need us. Leadership is problem solving. Problems aren't the funnest thing sometimes. And we see leadership all the time that likes to put things off, sweep things under the table, not really honestly address things. It takes courage to address problems and conflicts. And I can tell you, the longer I let a conflict go on, the longer it festered, the worse it became. And I always regretted not addressing things earlier when I had a problem that lingered and just festered. And, you know, it was a molehill that became a mountain. All right. So solve problems, face them. Okay. It takes courage. The second thing that takes courage is decision making. Leadership is about decision making. You have to make a decision. I believe wholeheartedly in collaboration. I believe wholeheartedly in getting the team involved and gathering feedback, gathering input, getting everybody's thoughts. You know, people make you successful. Well, you've got these people on your staff. You need to listen to them. And you know what? During crisis, you really need them. Like when a pandemic hits, you better have good people around you to listen to and to help guide you. Okay. But you've got to make decisions. And you can collaborate all you want. Sooner or later, you're the leader. There's a phrase out there. It's been around for millions of years. It's going to be around for a million more. And it's called the buck stops here. As the leader, you've got to make a decision. You have to decide. So many people have trouble with making decisions. It takes courage to decide, because guess what? You're going to be wrong. You're going to be wrong sometimes. And in today's world of social media, almost every decision you make seems to hit the light of day. And people get afraid of that. You can't be afraid of that. You've got to make decisions. When you're wrong, admit you're wrong, correct course, learn from it, and don't make the same mistake again. So I think courage is critical. And the last thing is, I know we're winding down here, and it's absolutely critical to find any success in anything you do. I don't care if it's a volunteer effort you're doing. I don't care if it's going to school as a student. I don't care if it's your profession in your work life or your family life or your spiritual life. If you want to be successful at it, it takes commitment. Commitment is more than just hard work. A lot of people work hard. I always get a little leery when I hear somebody talk about how many hours they put in. You know, that's like bragging, like I work so hard. Like nobody else works hard? Really? A lot of people work hard, okay? But commitment is 2 things. One, are you doing the little things well? And everybody in their own profession knows the little things well, whether it's the right way to communicate in a text message or an email or on social media. Double check, make sure you have everything spelled correctly. Those are little things. They say something about you as a person if you're sloppy about those things. Those are little things, okay? Over communicate. It's critical that the leader communicates so that the people on the other end know and understand what he or she wants done. There's a book out there. One of my favorite mentors of all times was John Wooden, the great basketball coach at UCLA. And there's a book out there by one of his players who wrote it. And the title of it is "You Haven't Taught Until They Have Learned." That was a favorite Wooden saying, going back to being a good teacher. Mm-hmm. It goes with communication. That goes with commitment. Making sure you're communicating so that those under your watch know and understand completely what it is you want to accomplish. So that's critical. Do the little things well. The second thing, I go back to make one play. You never know what one play will lead to. And I've got a great story, and actually both my books. We don't have time today. This will be a teaser for people to go to Amazon and check out my books.
Okay.
A great story in there on commitment. It's my favorite story of all time. Some that have heard me speak before have heard the story. I love telling it. I've told it hundreds of times. It's my favorite story of my favorite Laker of all time, Chris Penzine, a men's tennis player at Grand Valley. Okay.
One of my favorite stories.
He did something, Sandra, when nobody was watching and when nobody cared, that turned our athletic department around and caused us to win 19 national championships you talked about, to win 18 straight all sports trophies. That young man came through with one great effort on a day when nobody else cared. That changed Grand Valley's athletics department. So that's your teaser to go to my books and read that story of commitment. The last thing I'll share with everybody is this is commitment as well. We ask ourselves all the time, well, what is success? What does success mean to you? What do you mean? Is it making a lot of money? Is it being all-American? Is it national championship? Is it moving up the ladder to be vice president or president? What is success? And those are all tangible goals. And those are things that the world loves, the world being the noise out there. What success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of the self-satisfaction in knowing you did your best to become the best you're capable of becoming. That's John Wooden's definition of success, the great coach at UCLA. And if you don't know who Coach Wooden is, Google him. Google John Wooden. And by the way, Google John Wooden, Pyramid of Success. And study that pyramid of success for a little bit, because up at the top is the definition I just referred to. Essentially, it's doing the best you can, because nobody can ask more out of a leader or anyone but to do their very, very best. And only you know if you've done your best. So I'll leave everybody with this definition of success. Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of the self-satisfaction, knowing you did your best to become the best you're capable of becoming. Those are some of my thoughts, Sandra, on what I believe are fundamentals of success in leadership in life. And
Wow.
Appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate you allowing me to speak. And as hopefully people saw, I was speaking with passion.
Oh, I a couple times you brought tears to my eyes, but I've always been inspired by you expressing yourself and expressing to us what you feel like a leader looks like. So I really appreciate you coming on. I'm kind of at a loss for words, and I'm really appreciative. Anyway, I love the book. I read the Chris Penzine story. I love that one. It's one of my all-time favorites, along with John Wooden. I know that you guys flew out there. What year was that? 2015, maybe? to see John Wooden
Really
before he
than that.
passed?
We had a chance to meet Coach Wood in person, and for me, it was like going to the mountaintop. But besides the Chris Pensine story, that book is full of stories. I believe in teaching lessons through storytelling, and so there's stories in there. And my next book is going to be one big story about achieving balance in one's life, because I'm going to go back to that. There's some good nuggets in there. So stay tuned for that to come out.
Okay, I can't wait. All right. Thank you for your time, and your grandson with you. I understand you guys have an outing soon.
I got a ball game to go to tonight. So
okay, good. I'm glad you got that balance in. All right.
I'm going to games the last 2 weeks, track meets and ball games.
Good. It's your time.
Yep.
All right. I'll end here. Thank everyone for watching. This has been Passion Speak, and we are presenting Tim Selgo. And until next time, thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Sandra.